In a world that is robbing dudes of their dudeness, three normal, everyday, middle-aged dudes are taking a stand for dudes everywhere. Join us as we talk about life as a dude in today's world.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Dudefinity podcast, the only podcast dedicated to all things dude. My name is Sterling, and joining me as always, I have the pride, the privilege, nay, the pleasure of introducing to you a conservative sired by conservatives. A conservative who can trace his lineage back beyond Ronald Reagan. I first met him atop a mountain outside Jerusalem, praying to God for forgiveness for the liberal tears he spilled with his words. Next, he amazed me even still in Los Angeles, where he saved a fatherless beauty from the ravages of an OnlyFans account. In Greece, he spent a year in silence just to better understand the sound of a whisper. Without further gilda-lillying, and with no more ado, I give to you the seeker of serenity, the protector of Los Angeles chastity, the enforcer of our Lord God, Jordan. And that was a deep cut, and the first person who could tell us where it's from gets a shout out on the next podcast.
Now, with that being said, I also will be looking for a new co-host if anybody wants to kind of chat in a little bit here, because this just went from like regular dude stuff to full-blown like Stranger Dungeons and Dragons and a little bit of like craziness. I apologize, but nonetheless, I am super happy to be here with you as always, protecting and apparently sitting in silence. So I will sit in silence as you start the podcast, my friend, and go.
I don't know if you realize how difficult it is to outdo myself every time. Do you better understand the sound of a whisper?
It's very crazy when you whisper at me like that. I understand it, but it's weird. So anyway, so what's going on this week, man? How's things going? You've been pretty busy. I feel like we haven't caught up much. You've been working and, you know,
just working, doing usual stuff.
Saving people and, you know, all that good jazz.
Money, saving people money.
Yeah, you're really good at saving people money, man.
Mm-hmm. Fact.
You know, I was thinking about it the other day. Go ahead.
No,
I was just thinking about it the other day. You know how we talk about like our jobs and different stuff all the time together? Mm-hmm. It just dawned on me the thought, and I'm sure I'm not the first person. I probably heard this somewhere, but you know, I'm in insurance. I got no problem telling people that, you know, there's a lot of different kind of insurances. And that's what dawned on me is I'm like, man, if I was selling life insurance and I was out here kind of trying to win souls for the Lord, I'd be in life insurance all the way around, wouldn't I? Kind of interesting thought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can cut that. Please cut that.
Oh, absolutely not.
All right. So,
I had a thought for you.
God.
I've been thinking
if it's
about
anything like mine, we're in trouble.
No, it's not nearly that ridiculous.
Okay, cool.
So you said something to me a couple of days ago that has stuck with me, and I wanted to see if I could get you to elaborate on it here. You, I think the first time ever, told me that you would have a hard time or wouldn't vote for Trump if he could run again. And I was wondering if you could elaborate on the wheres, the whys, the hows.
Man, no foreplay first? We're just going to jump right in, right?
Going straight raw. No, it's prison style. Not even a courtesy spit.
Listen, I've never said Trump is great. I've never said he's a great person. I've never said that he was anything really other than a good businessman. And I felt like for the sake of our country, that the policies and the kind of kind of the conservative policies right now, we're going to reel in some of the progressive policies that we've been pushing towards. I do think, with gas prices falling, I got to give them credit. I think other prices are going to fall. It's typically a domino effect. So I'm super excited to see what happens as we go through the first quarter of 26. But I'm just worn out, man. I'm just
Mm.
worn out. I'm worn out trying to defend a guy who, what if that was my daughter that was standing there on the as a press person in the gaggle? I get it. He doesn't like ABC. He doesn't, and rightfully so. I'm not for 1 second saying that the media has covered him fairly. I do not agree that they have in any stretch. But even still, and I can't believe I'm going to quote her a little bit, but I'm going to go back to something that Michelle Obama said, and that's hard for me to do, but when they go low, we go higher, you know?
Mm.
And I just think that we need to rise above, man. I mean, kind of like Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner was a Trump hater to no end, man. Hated him like you wouldn't believe. Pushed a lot of false narratives on him and everything else, and Trump has a rightful gripe with him. I get it. Very rightful gripe. But it was an opportunity for him to go, hey, this is exactly why I am my administration is doing everything we can to stop the flow of drugs into our country because of this situation. It's just tragic. May they rest in peace. Melania and I are praying for the family. But no, instead it was Trump derangement syndrome killed him. And it was because of and it's just, I know I said I wouldn't vote for him. I don't know what I'd do. I just know that it's getting old and it's getting
Yeah.
tiring. And the rhetoric's got to stop. I mean, it's both sides though. It's not
Mm.
just him. It's just he doesn't do himself any favors sometimes. And I think it's getting a little redundant is all.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. No, man, I get it. Like, I see what you're talking about. You've got this opportunity to kind of rise above and take the high ground, and it doesn't seem like it seems like he played into the hands that one somebody who didn't like him would expect him to play into. You know what I mean? So I get that totally.
Yeah, he just adds fuel to the fire. I mean,
Mm.
to me, winning should be enough. Winning for the country should be enough. And I do think there are a lot of rampant fraud and different things that need to be rooted out. And I think he's just the start of a lot
Mm-hmm.
of changes. And
Mm-hmm.
there's some great things, don't get me wrong, but I'm just a little hard up when there are people who agree with his comments on Rob Reiner that are friends of mine. And it just kind of, we've normalized treating each other badly. And I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a justification for, I'm not going to defend him when he's wrong. I'm not going to defend anybody when they're wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's
Yeah.
just part of it. If you had said to me that you were glad Rob Reiner died, I'd tell you, dude, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't say that. Do better. I just, I just don't understand the vitriol and the hate that we keep spewing. And I just would hope at some point that the commander-in-chief of the United States would kind of be a start of a change and a shift.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that winning cures all things. I do know that it will, maybe he'll turn some people towards him a little more next year as the economy continues to grow and turn around and look better. But I'm hoping along with when those people come, it's not I told you so. It's, hey, you know, I'm a president for everybody. I'm sorry, that it's been rough the last couple of years. If Trump wanted to do something really, really awesome in this world, he'd come out and say, hey, listen, I'm sorry the political rhetoric's been so rough. I've been guilty of it. I felt attacked, and it's not an excuse. But I just, you know, I don't see him doing it. He's set in his ways. I know what I voted for. It's getting old.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. Like, it's I can speak for both myself and Jordan when I say that, like, somebody's political leanings at no point ever uh should they be used to justify somebody being assassinated, murdered, any kind of
Right.
bad thing happen to somebody. Because at the end of the day, that's the beautiful thing about this great nation, is that we're all entitled to disagree with each other. The whole point is that we should be able to disagree in a polite, even if it's heated. But like,
Yeah.
we could disagree. That's fine. But there's a point where it crosses a line and becomes, well, now we are just disagreeing to disagree, or
Yeah.
you're turning it into more than what it really is.
The other thing I'm struggling with a little bit, Sterl, is the hypocrisy behind some of it. Charlie Kirk tragically killed. People
Mm-hmm.
were yelling about, oh, we're glad he's dead. We're glad, they killed Charlie. Way to go. Big man next, orange man next, whatever they were saying, all the stuff,
Mm-hmm.
desecrating his memorials and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But the same people that were mad and pissed off, quite frankly, at how those people were celebrating Charlie's death aren't the people coming out and condemning the president for doing the same thing. And
Yep.
I just, I have friends who have done it. It's hard for me right now. If I'm being fully honest, like I've kind of sunk into my own little space a little bit this week and kind
Mm-hmm.
of shut off some of those people that I do life with every day because it disappointed me to hear that they could celebrate that, and not call them out for the same thing that we were just spewing about the other side. It's just
Yeah.
the hypocrisy in it all from both sides of the aisle just drives me absolutely insane and it
Mm-hmm.
wears me out. I love those people. I'm not mad at them for saying it. I'm just disappointed that that's how they feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're their feelings, so I can't change it.
On another note that I don't know if you saw, our Secretary of War has done something that hasn't happened for many years.
Which thing? Because it seems like, he's done quite a few things lately.
He's done quite a few things, but one of the things that has now happened is the military, I believe all branches are meeting their recruitment goals.
They are. And actually they're surpassing them. They're
So,
surpassing them. And then how about last night? 1776. He sent in the Trump administration sent in $1,776 to all our troops. In celebration of the 250th anniversary of this great nation. I'm impressed with how this administration gets things done and the focus on getting them done. And I love the recruitment. People want to work for a guy like him that's just, bold and boisterous and ready to go and going to run through the wall. And I think that there's a lot of good there, man. And in no way am I saying that I don't align with what he's doing. I just wish somebody would take his ability to speak sometimes out of his hand. We go from a president who couldn't talk to one who never shuts up. There's got to be a middle ground somewhere.
Here's one thing I've been thinking about.
Is it J.D. Vance? Is J.D. Vance the middle ground?
Again, yeah, I don't think presumably he'll run next election. I don't, I'm sure it'll end up being Gavin Newsom that goes up against him, and I don't see how Gavin Newsom wins. But I had a point to this, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. So
Okay.
I was thinking about this military recruitment goals now being met, and I'm like, well, what's changed? You've got a president, because if you've ever worked for a boss who you felt like had your back, that makes a huge difference. You've got a president now who really seems to be a fan of the military, is really in their corner. You've got a new Secretary of War who is putting the fighter back in warfighter, I guess, is the best way I could describe it. Instead of,
well, he was rank and file. He understands it from a different
does.
way. You know what I mean?
So I'm like, well, why all of a sudden? What's changed? What do you like? What's your thoughts on that? What do you think is the catalyst to these recruitment goals all of a sudden now being met?
Well, there's a lot of different things. One, I think when you trim the fat out of government and you have all this extra money, you're hoping that it goes to positive things like our military and our defenses. And I think that there's more money for them to use to make recruitment more attractive in some ways. I think that's one thing. I think that Trump's nationalist agenda and the way that he is America first, I think there's people who resonate with that. Man, this guy's going to take care of me. I want to go work in the military for this guy, I also think that there are people in this world who are second and third generation military that were going to sign up either way and who didn't sign up maybe or weren't going to sign up because of the Biden administration necessarily and feeling like the recruitment was down. But I feel like there's a toughness to the military again. I feel like there's an elitist approach to it where, hey, we're one of the few, we're one of the proud, like we're
Mm,
out here, we're out here serving our country, serving a purpose, which you said the other day was a big thing that people need in this world. I also think that college has been kind of snuffed down a little bit, if I'm being honest with you,
mhm.
from a standpoint of who wants to be in that debt. The military provides you a way to go to college. Like like Isaac, my cousin, perfect example. Been in the military 20 years. Guess what? Took him 17 years, but he got a master's and he's still in. So, I mean, he took advantage of the things that the military provides. And I
Yeah.
think that message is getting spread a little harder. Hey, come here. We'll teach you these trades. We'll teach you how to do this. We're toughening people up again. And I think that that's a good thing.
Mhm.
By the way, you don't have to fly the plane into a combat zone necessarily because you can go be a drone pilot, which is basically playing video games. That's attractive to some kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, think about it, man. I mean, right? Like, if somebody would have told us when we were 16 years old that we could have gone and flown drones halfway across the world with the amount of video games we played, we'd be like, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah. You know, so I did a little bit of a dive into it, not a deep dive, but
Yeah.
like a little bit of a dive to try and see, where were they falling short recruiting wise compared to previous years? And I bet you can't guess the population that was not being recruited at the rates they used to be.
In terms of population, how? Gender, race,
Just pick one, whatever.
race, race.
To partially.
Yeah, my guess is there's probably a lot of Hispanics that are joining the military. Maybe a lot more. Like they're making it just seem more attractive as a way out. I don't know.
So the population that was not being recruited at the rates that they had previously were Southern white men.
Yeah, that makes sense. They
Yeah.
don't want us in the military, man. We got too many guns.
Well,
They know we're a little we're already kind of in our own little militias.
you're a transplant. Don't pretend you're not. Uh,
I've been here longer than I ever lived there, buddy. Oh, that's a cute cup you got there, man. Very manly teal. Kind of like my Stanley Light Blue, baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now there's this influx of Southern white guys going to the
Yeah, that makes
military.
sense. That makes sense.
Well,
Well, another thing with the death of farming, like,
mhm.
farming's been dying a slow death. The multi-generational farmers are starting to stop. So those kids are getting out of the household. I bet you if you look at it, it's coming from a lot of rural southern areas. And it
Yeah, it
wouldn't
is.
surprise me if it's like, the farmer's son's going off to call or going off to military because there's nothing else for him to do.
You know, I see where you're coming from, but I'm gonna be dead honest with you. I don't think that's it.
What do you think it is?
I think, all right, let's just be honest. The job of the military is to kill in the most efficient way possible. Really, that's their job. Go find the enemy, kill them. That is the job of the military. So I think that now it feels like that's the job of the military again, and not to like. Let's face it was kind of becoming woke, and that's not generally the type of the majority of the people who want to go out and do that kind of work. That's not the kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
environment that they want to do it in. Whether you think it's right, wrong, whatever. But it just stands to reason that you've got a Secretary of War who wants to make the U.S. military the most elite fighting force in the world. Not that it already isn't, but let's
PT
extend the
twice a
gap.
year, folks. PT twice a year. Should be once a month. But
And again, it's one of those things. It's like, well, why pretend it's not? It's something it's not. The whole point of the military is to go find the enemy
yeah.
and kill them and do it efficiently. And well, there's 2 points. It's that one. That's their job. The second one is to kill the enemy in such an overwhelming and completely destructive way
That nobody wants
that
to mess with us.
nobody wants to f around and
But
find
see,
out.
you say it's that. It's also defense, though, man. I mean, it's
Well,
all.
that is defense. That's the
Yeah,
best
but
defense.
yeah, I mean, well, yeah, the best defense is good offense. But I'm just saying, like here at home, there's a lot more than just going out and seeking out the enemy and killing them.
Listen, I'm not saying that there aren't other functions that the military has, but when you boil it down to its core function, it is to fight wars. That's
Yeah,
what it's
that's
there
why
for.
it's called the Secretary of War, man. I mean,
Yeah,
in the
I
War
mean
Department, you know what I mean?
that's literally what it's there for. So,
Yeah,
and I'm not, like I say, I'm not saying that it doesn't have other functions. That the National Guard isn't out when there's, uh, some kind of natural disaster,
yeah,
or I'm not saying that it doesn't have other functions, but the core of the military is to find the enemy wherever they may be, kill them. And it takes all kinds of different things. Like, really, the U.S. military's best asset is logistics. It's you can power project all you want, but if you run out of people, guns, and food, then you're in big trouble. So like I say, I am pleased to see that is the direction that
yeah,
the military is
yeah.
headed.
I mean, a strong military is always good. You know what I mean? I think something that I have a question on, if you're done with this military section, because I've been
Yeah,
dying to ask you
go
this
for
this
it.
week.
Mm-hmm.
Our former vice presidential candidate, Tim Walz,
Mm-hmm.
and the Minnesota fraud. What the hell is going on, man? There's billions of dollars that have just up and gone missing.
Well,
And
there's
it
all kinds.
seems like a lot of it's gone to, those, I hate to say it, and it is what it is. A lot of it's gone to the Somalian refugees and some of the services that they get out there. And it's very interesting to see what's getting ready to happen, man.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
Should he resign? I mean, they're calling on him to resign. He was the overseer of all these funds, and there was rampant fraud.
I don't know. Like I say, the fraud was rampant. I feel it's probably pretty difficult to hold the governor in hold them completely accountable for that.
Yeah, right.
But at the end of the day, when you're just and you've seen it, when you just throw money at something, of course there's people who are going to take advantage of it. And then I think one of the problems that we have is, and listen, and you and I have talked about this, it is good to want to be altruistic. It's a good thing for people to go, you know what, these folks over here are having a really hard time.
Yeah.
We should let them in. They can seek asylum, etc., etc. The problem that you run into with that is that, one, culturally, they may not mesh well with the culture that you have. It has to be people who are willing to assimilate. I mean, that's just kind of what it is. Bring those great things from whatever culture you're coming from. But at the end of the day, it's like this. It's still America. If I come over to your house for a weekend, and in my home, I wear my shoes inside, and in your home, you don't wear your shoes inside. Well, what's the expectation? That I'm going to take my shoes off when I walk in the door, right?
Right.
I mean, that's a courtesy thing. Now, that may not be exactly my culture when I go in my own house, but since I'm at your house, I'm going to follow your rules. I think it just, you're asking, you're asking somebody with, one, no skin in the game, because they're coming here for basically free. They're being afforded the opportunity to pull a fast one. And it's not their country.
And
so if they steal money,
cultural, there's some ingrained things in their in their culture too, where a lot of them, that's their way. That's how they have to survive where they're coming from. And so I think it's a matter of almost kind of like survival of the fittest too. Like they don't they don't get rid of those traits that they have to survive where they're from. You know what I mean? So then they come
Well, why
here
would you
and
expect them
try the
to?
same things. Huh?
I said, why would you expect them to?
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a problem,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to dive into it real fast because I'm going to completely switch gears to sports because I'm looking over your head
Mm-hmm.
and I'm seeing the Michael Jordan book.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you and I talk about this a lot, so I feel like this is a good one for us to go on a tangent on.
Okay.
GOAT, Michael or Braun? And
Why is that?
Oh, there's
Why is
more.
it?
There's more. I love it. Yes. Michael Jordan, you are. Tom Brady is football Jesus. You are basketball Jesus. Like, they could say Jesus Shuttlesworth was a thing. No, you are basketball Jesus, man. You made me love basketball. You made me love the NBA. There is no question that you were the greatest player of all time.
Well, I mean, statistically, he is. I mean, there's not really any doubt about it. When you start looking at advanced analytics, he's at the top of everything. He's had the best season of all time, and like the next 4 best seasons of all time were his as well. So, I mean, I don't know how you even make the argument for LeBron.
Why
Other
do
than
people make that argument for LeBron? Why do you
Rec-
suppose that is?
recency bias? So, it's one of those things. It's okay. Think about it this way. You and I grew up and we were watching Michael play. So we got
Yeah.
to see it live. We weren't watching obviously we were watching highlights, but we weren't watching film from 20
Right.
something years ago. We watched those games. We saw it for reals. Yeah. And people who make this argument for LeBron, generally speaking, are a little younger than us, and they watched LeBron from the beginning. And I'm
But I
not
watched
taking any.
LeBron and I don't see anything close to what Michael or Kobe did.
Well, again, think about it. You have the ability. You have the benefit of having seen Michael and Kobe play in real, in real time, and
I hear you.
could make that comparison. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from, is that there's not much else comparison. Personally, I think Steph Curry's.
I was getting ready to
is a
say,
better-
dude, Curry's game is way more flashy, right?
Well, I think Curry's game. I think Curry has been more revolutionary to the sport than Bron.
yeah, he's changed the game for sure.
Yes, 100%. And then on top of that, he's had arguably a more successful career
Yeah,
than LeBron has.
yeah.
LeBron's had
winning.
longevity.
You know,
I will fully give it to him. He has been effective for a longer period of time than any other player.
but then you hear, okay, so he has 100%, and he's naturally built, unlike anybody. And I think that's part of the reason that I'm so disappointed with LeBron, I guess is the way to say it. Because I feel like for a guy who calls himself the GOAT and says he's the greatest of all time for delivering a championship to Cleveland, barbershop reference, if anybody wants to look at that, it's literally, he says it. I don't understand how you haven't won more, how you haven't done more. He's played with more all-stars. He's played with more top tier players in the league. He, year in and year out, he brings people in. He's ran through coaches. And yet, then you hear the things about the human growth hormones / steroids that he's used for recovery purposes. It's never been proven, but there's thousands of people talking about it regularly, and then you look around and now all of a sudden 50 Cent's getting ready to drop another documentary. He did the Diddy documentary. Now he's dropping the one on LeBron, and he's saying, just wait. And there's a lot of rumors that LeBron was ran his whole life by Rich Paul and Maverick Carter. And so when I say all that, I'm just saying, LeBron's longevity is impressive. But what did he do to obtain that longevity? And there's some asterisks there that kill me a little bit. And you can't say his longevity is impressive without saying Michael Jordan wasn't either. Because Michael Jordan he might not have played as many years, but you know what's interesting? When Michael Jordan was with the Wizards, he averaged the same thing that LeBron, he averaged 20 and 12 every night. He was a great, his game changed. Sure. Michael Jordan did something that LeBron would never do. And I think this is the part that Michael Jordan elevated the game of basketball. These shoe deals, these global reach, that every bit of it with Nike, all of like Adidas, all this stuff would not exist if Michael Jordan would have carried the NBA forward. So
Yeah.
the TV deals, everything. But the one thing that Michael Jordan did that impressed me more than anything he's done is the reason why he went and played for the Wizards. And the reason behind why he played for the Wizards is something that LeBron would never do. LeBron is too selfish and thinks about himself. Whereas you
Mhm.
have Michael Jordan, we had 9/11 happen. Michael Jordan was retired. He was an owner of the Wizards. He came out of retirement to give the city and the country something to kind of rally around. He talks about it, but he doesn't talk about it regularly, because it's not something he wants praise for. He does it quietly. He doesn't call himself the GOAT. For the seasons that he played with the Wizards, the salary that he made, he donated to the 9/11 Victims Fund.
Mhm.
And that's something LeBron would never do. When we had the disasters in North Carolina, that terrible flooding in the western half of the state from the hurricane, well, what'd Michael do? Donate a bunch of money, help out, meet people where they're needed. So I think that when you look at LeBron and you look at Michael Jordan, you look at Kobe, you look at Steph Curry, you look at these guys, Shaq,
Mhm.
you look at these guys, Kobe, Curry, MJ, Shaq, their reach and the things they do, when they're out shopping and they see some kid that wants something, but he doesn't have the money for it. Shaq goes and buys him a PlayStation 5, even though the kid, he just happens to see it. You hear this
Yeah.
stuff all the time. Curry, all the stuff that him and Aisha do. And then you see LeBron and it's like, what are you really doing? They talk about the Boys and Girls Club back in Akron.
Mhm.
Come on, man. That was just, everybody does that in their hometown. What's he doing, man? Like, other than getting the most charitable thing he's done is get his son an NBA contract.
Oh.
That's a
Yeah.
banger right there. That's a
Yeah.
banger.
All right.
But come on, right?
So I'm gonna go back to something you said, and I'm gonna defend LeBron a little bit. I think
Yeah.
that if you were to test for performance enhancing drugs as rigorously as you could in the 90s, I think you probably would have found a lot of guys using some stuff in the NBA.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm not saying they didn't.
So you were saying that puts a little asterisk next to him, but I feel like he's probably not the only one. But this is what I'll say. He's had longevity. He's won some titles. He does a little bit of everything. He can be a fantastic defender
Lost
when he
some
feels
titles
like
too.
it. Well,
Also.
yeah, he's lost. Like I say,
Quite a
I
few.
certainly I don't think he's the GOAT by any means. I do think he's a top 5 all-time player. But I don't think he's better than Jordan.
He's not in my top 5, but that's okay.
That's okay.
It's
Like I
okay.
say,
Everybody's got their own. The thing with LeBron that kills me is he's always had to have somebody else with him to win a championship. Like, he went down to he ended up going to South Beach to win. But you know who taught him to win in that situation? Dwayne Wade. I mean, he needed Dwayne Wade to teach him how to win. Michael Jordan drugged Scotty in them. Scotty was great, but when Michael retired, they didn't go to the finals. They didn't do anything in that interim.
They went to the Eastern Conference Finals. They did one of the top records in the league.
I understand that, but did they win a championship? Did they have that guy that won them a championship?
I'm not saying that, but
LeBron is not a guy who can win you a championship alone. LeBron needs somebody else to win a championship.
Well,
Michael Jordan is a guy. I get that, but Michael Jordan is a guy that you take him off a team, they don't win a championship. You put him back on that team, they win 3 in a row. My point in all this is that Dwayne Wade was the finisher. Kyrie Irving was the finisher. Anthony Davis was the finisher. LeBron has never been the guy to win you to take the big shot to win you the game.
I mean, wow, bold.
Kyrie took that shot.
Claims.
Kyrie took that shot. Who won the championship in Cleveland? LeBron made the defensive play, don't get me wrong. LeBron did great, but who hit the big shot?
Yeah.
Was that ball going to anybody else not named Michael Jordan when it was time? Well, not usually.
Here's the thing I want to stress. I think it gets forgotten about how good that Bulls team really was. You had Tony Kukoc, who won Sixth Man of the Year. You had Scottie Pippen, who was listed as one of the 50 greatest players at the 50th anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
Dennis Rodman, who, I mean, may not have gotten the accolades that a lot of guys did, but he is very much like a Draymond Green. He's willing to do all of the dirty stuff, the stuff that doesn't get you on the highlight reel, was willing to do all of it, to defend, to rebound, to do all of that. Ron Harper, you got to remember when he played for the Clippers before he went to Chicago, before he went to the Bulls, was a 25-point-a-night guy. So they really, and then Steve Kerr, statistically, the best three-point shooter that's ever played. Statistically, he didn't make.
I'm
as
not
many
disagreeing
as Curry, but
about
he shot
that
a better
team.
percentage. But I'm just saying that I don't.
But
want
that team still couldn't win when Michael Jordan wasn't on it.
Well,
They
I mean,
did not win when it can't. Right? Did they win the championship with MJ on it?
No, but who's to say what would have happened the following year? I'm just saying that was a very good team, regardless of whether Jordan was on it or not.
So wasn't that Heat team down in Miami with LeBron and Wade? I mean,
they first year out they lost to Dirk Nowitzki in the Mavericks, which
Dirk Nowitzki and Jason Kidd, baby. Thank
brought
you.
such joy to my soul. Watching
I never
them
was
lose.
more happy about anything than when they lost that championship.
But yeah, so I think recency bias, longevity, those are the reasons that LeBron gets in this GOAT conversation, but I don't think it's even close. I don't think it's a reasonable thing to say that he is at any point in his career was a better player than Jordan. He just wasn't.
No. And the thing is too with LeBron, I think he would have won more if he scored less. I know that sounds crazy, but if he would have played that like true point forward role and average, because he's an elite passer, he's got ridiculous court vision. If he would have been in that 10 to 15 a night assist range and had 10 to 15 rebounds and 15 to 20 points, I think that would have led to more winning. But I think
maybe
the spread of the ball, you know what I mean, a little bit more. Or score 35 points a night. That's the one thing I've never seen him do either. Is like, if you're so dominant of a player, let me see you night in and night out be the best guy on the court, offensively, defensively, all the way around.
What does LeBron have? 1 or 2 scoring titles, maybe?
I don't know. Let's ask Alexa. Alexa, how many scoring titles does LeBron James have? She didn't answer. That must be 0.
Okay. Well, it's all right. Here's another one for you. So, did you see that Brad Stevens gave a recent interview discussing Jason Tatum's return to basketball?
I did not see that. I hear they're pretty excited about him coming back.
Well, so this is what he essentially kind of threw cold water on any idea of him coming back anytime soon. So Brad Stevens basically said, well, there's certain strength measures that he has to get to, and then after he's done that, he has to get to scripted, like, 1-on-1, 3-on-3, 5-on-5, and then unscripted. And then when he feels he's ready after that point, that he could return. So he's kind of thrown some cold water on the idea of him returning anytime soon. But on the flip side, he also said that there's a reason that they didn't get a DPA. So, or disabled player exception. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting. He's not.
Well, I told you recently he needed to be on the roster going into the playoffs in order for them to use him in the playoffs. And like you said, you want him to play. You'd like to see him play with 15, 20 games left. I don't think that's realistic. I think you're looking maybe 5 or 10 games left in the season.
Man, I don't know.
And I think they'll probably, honestly, when they bring him out, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to like the second round, they bring him off the bench some. You know what I mean? I don't think you just throw Jason Tatum back to the Wolves as fast as you
I
can. I
agree.
mean,
But I don't think you can take him and just toss him in the deep end either. I think he's going to need time to one get used to the pace of the game. Like that's one thing that that's always the hardest thing
oh
because
yeah,
the NBA is so
which is
fast.
why I've told you though that I don't think he should play this year. Like I
Well,
am of the belief he shouldn't play this year, even if we are chasing the title. Go chase the title. Do it. I
I
mean,
hear
if
you,
you're in a position to
but
chase the title without him, why bring him back?
I hear you, but I think it is. I personally think it would be a bad idea that if there was a strong chance that he could come back, not to go for it.
Yeah. No, I mean I
You
hear
don't know
you, but
you don't know what can happen. Anything can happen. They may never even get that back there again. So if you've got the opportunity, I think you have to go for it.
so speaking of winning championships, speaking of the Boston Celtics, what's going on with Porzingis, man? I feel for him. I mean, the poor unicorn dude. That Potts thing is really. I think he's going to end his career. I think
I
he's
think
probably
he's
going to retire.
I think that's probably what's going to happen.
I think he's going to have to. I mean, he can't stay on the court at all
No.
now, and it has nothing to do with the structure of his knee like it was before, or just different injuries he had. It's everything to do with his lungs, and if he can't, if he's always winded, there's no point
Mm.
in having it. None. So I think unfortunately you're probably gonna see the unicorn retire. He's the greatest. He's one of the best players to unfortunately always be injured, always miss time, but was just a phenomenal player when he played. I mean,
Yeah.
phenomenal. I
D-
I
does everything well. Really.
everything, everything. I
Everything.
mean, how many bigs do you know can bang with you down low and then turn around and shoot a 35-foot three in your face? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's not too Wemby, but I mean, he's a poor man's Wemby before Wemby, really.
Well, no, here's the thing you and I have talked about this. I think it is tough being over 7 feet. And when you hit that 7'3" range,
Yeah,
it gets even tougher because you're reaching the limits of what the human body can really do.
right,
You know, so you look at guys that are that tall, and they generally you don't have a lot of them in the league. They don't have careers that are that long. Usually they're
right.
cut short. They're usually injury prone. And Porzingis is an example of that.
Yeah,
That's my biggest worry about Wemby.
it's so
Is I think
unfortunate too, man, because he's just so talented.
Mhm.
It's
I think Wemby, I would be surprised if Wemby gets a like full 10-year plus
no,
career. I just don't think it'll happen.
I don't see it, man.
Um,
I think you're looking at kind of a Yao Ming situation with
mhm.
Wemby,
Yeah.
just in and out and then finally retire. I will tell you one thing that really impressed me this week. Cooper Flag passing LeBron as the all-time single rookie scorer for 18, I mean, that's pretty cool. Dropped
Mhm.
42.
Yep,
Is
drop
Cooper Flag
42.
getting ready to take off? Do you think that's the start of like kind of jump starting the rest of the season?
I mean, maybe. Here's the thing, and I've said this: I don't trust rookies. I never do.
No, no,
I,
no.
the NBA season is so long compared to college. The game is so much faster, and it's one of those things you think about. Okay, so let's just put it all into context. You're in high school. You're Cooper Flag's in high school. He is the best athlete out of the people he's going to play against, basically, for the most part,
Right,
right? Especially before he went to prep school
right.
by a mile. And then, and
Not even
then,
close.
not even close. Then you go to college, and you might go up against one guy a game, maybe on the other team. That's the kind of athlete that you are,
Right.
maybe. Depends on the school you're playing against, right? And then you get to the NBA.
And they're all
And
athletes.
and everybody that you play against was in your shoes before they got there.
Yeah.
So the playing field is so much more level. Now, again, I'm not saying that Cooper Flag couldn't be a generational type of player, but I think it is really hard to gauge.
Yeah.
You look at how many number one draft picks are basically busts. You know,
I've been so hype on him though ever since that Team USA practice,
you and
and
everybody
and
else.
and he was just dropping so his instincts and awareness are there to compete at that
Mhm.
level. It's just how's his
Sure.
body gonna hold up? You know what I mean?
Like I say, I mean, he's young, so he's probably going to grow another inch or two. He's going to fill out.
Yeah.
All of this stuff is. I'm not. Again, I'm. You get one of these every 10 years. You figure,
Right.
You
Right.
get a Michael Jordan, and then later on down the road you get a Kobe, and later
Yeah.
on down the road you get a LeBron.
I mean Curry. Yeah, Curry.
Well, I'm just talking about physical specimens. I'm not
I
talking
know.
about
Okay.
how they
All
play
right.
the game.
All right.
But I'm
Yeah,
just talking
okay.
about these guys that are just
You
when
get
it comes
LeBron,
to
then you get
their
Giannis, and now you got Coop, and
Yeah.
it just
when their first step is they are just better athletes than everybody else.
they're just
around.
light years ahead of everybody else
Yeah,
already.
they're faster, stronger, more agile, can jump better, like all of that stuff. You get one of those generational type of players
Yeah.
once every 10 years. I would not include Giannis in that.
Really?
No. I mean, don't get me wrong, Giannis is great, but are you putting him in your top 5?
I wouldn't even put him in my top 20.
I put him in my top 20.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, all time, no, but I wouldn't. But that's just me.
They don't come around often. And
I think the greatest basketball player to ever play is Ty Jerome. So,
oh, okay.
6-man off the bench for the Cavaliers. Greatest player of all time.
All right.
Went to UVA out here, won a championship, and University of Virginia country, man. Like, he's a hooper. Going to be the best. People will remember that name. And
Speaking of
I'm joking. No offense to Ty Jerome, but not the greatest basketball player of all time.
Speaking of, did you see what happened with Jalen Brunson? And
Whoo, do you think Kat was jealous? Do you think Diddy was watching from jail going, oh, a little lube would have helped that? I don't know, man. That was a weird celebration. And why is Josh Hart in the front rows oil checking Jalen, dude? If I was Jalen, I'd be a little concerned.
Well, he looked a little concerned. Man, this
Kat was jealous. You know it. And Dwight Howard's like, I'd like to come out of retirement and play for the Knicks.
Jesus. It's weird. That's a weird thing to do. It's certainly everything gets caught on camera. How he thought no one was going to notice. I mean, did you ever see when Tiger outdrove Justin Thomas? He outdrove Justin Thomas, and they were playing together in a tournament, and so they were paired together. He outdrives him, and he, in his palm of his hand, slips him a tampon, and they caught that on camera. So Josh Hart thinks he could shove his thumb up Jalen Brunson's ass and not get caught. Come on, man.
Dude, like, what in the world, man?
Thinking?
Hey, we won the NBA Cup, which, by the way, means absolutely jack shit.
Cares?
Nobody cares. New York, you're
cares.
not going to win a championship, so you might as well celebrate it, have your moment. But got some news for you. Most of you guys won't even be on the Knicks in a couple of weeks.
Do you remember the first year of the NBA Cup where everybody was really excited about the NBA Cup and knew exactly who was winning and how
I was
they
never
got
excited
there?
about it, to be honest with you.
No, I know. No one else was either. Yeah. No, that's the dumbest thing.
I was excited about the NBA Cup as I am the WNBA.
Jesus, let's not do that again.
I'm just being honest with you, though. It's a thing. So,
here's the thing. I think you could do something with the NBA Cup, but it would need to be worth. Well, I'll tell you. I think you could
make it matter somehow.
You need to make it matter. You need to have if it
a home court advantage in the NBA Finals, maybe
home court advantage in the finals, or
that conference, whoever wins.
Yep, that conference, whoever wins, or you get a NBA Cup, you get a guaranteed lottery pick. In the
that would
draft.
Be kind of cool.
Something where it actually mattered. Because they're like, oh, these guys get like what, $50,000 or something
Well, you
like
know
that?
what's
Is how much
funny?
she would like? They
You,
don't
you know
care.
what's funny about the NBA Cup, though, more than
Hmm.
anything to me? If you ask fans, they hate the floors. They're like, I can't watch it. The floor looks so weird. It's so bright. Like, the number one complaint I hear from people is the floors are hideous. Like, why? Like, play on your regular floor.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know
what
why
the
it's
hell?
necessary. It's weird.
It
Well,
looks
like I
very
say,
Eurobasket, doesn't it? Like,
yeah. Like I
yeah.
say, I think they could make the NBA Cup more interesting if they made it matter. But if the teams don't care and the players don't care, then
Yeah.
why would the fans care? I mean, the NBA,
Apparently,
what,
the Knicks care enough to shove thumbs up each other's bums. So,
it's one of those things. It's like the
it's just
NBA is,
irrelevant, dude. It's irrelevant. It's
well,
completely irrelevant.
and I get what the NBA is trying to do because let's face it, other than like big fans of a specific team, most people don't pay that much attention during the regular season.
You
You
know what they
start paying
should
attention
do?
towards the playoffs. You start paying
Yeah.
attention for seeding reasons, and then you watch the playoffs, and then that's kind of the end of it. You know.
You,
So
you know what they
I,
should do? Honestly, they should add a wild card to the NBA playoffs
mhm,
and like one extra team from each conference, and those two
mhm.
teams are the teams that make it to the NBA Cup, and they should do it at the beginning of the season. So if the if the Wizards won the NBA Cup to start the season and they win 20 games throughout the year, they're an automatic wild card playoff spot.
That's not a bad idea.
Or like
I
an
mean, I
automatic
do.
bid.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the play-in tournament. I think that adds something to the
Yeah.
season because it deepens the amount of teams that have the possibility of getting in the playoffs. So I actually really
Well, it's
like
part of the
that.
push on parity too. I mean, it's
Yeah,
coincidentally aligned with the amount of parity we see in the league. Because
right.
you have all these people that are like 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10, 11, all within like a 2-game stretch
2K,
sometimes to
yeah.
end the season. You know what I mean? And it's like, so you kind of have to go that route. Real quick, want to talk about something very near and dear to my heart. Literally very near and dear to my heart at the moment.
Yeah.
Um,
What the happened on Sunday?
Dude, it was an epic collapse. There's not a lot you can say about it. Here's the things that I'll remind people real quick. We were down 2 starting linemen, including our offensive tackle. We've been without him a few games now anyway, but to win a game like that in that big environment, you also need your middle linebacker. Your
Mm,
starting middle linebacker, Robert Spillane, was not on the field, and he's kind of the heart and soul of the defense. So I think that when it came time to rally, we were missing some people that help you rally in those moments. And so I think it kind of, those like leaders that you need, kind of like Al Horford was for the Celtics the last couple of years when, you
mhm.
bring the guys in and you're like, come on, let's go. We got to, and we didn't have that. And so here's what I'll remind people. Yeah, we lost to Buffalo. Tom Brady came out and said it. Every year that the Patriots won a Super Bowl, they lost on average 4 games a season. That is now our third. We are up on the Bills still. We are in first place in our division. We are number 2 in the conference. We dropped a tough game. It is what it is. The refs helped out a little bit too, So when I hope we're on a crash course with Buffalo again because I would love to see them. Because guess what? It's going to be played at Gillette again.
Let me ask you this: Do you now, like you and I were talking during the game, and I was unfortunately out running some errands after the second half, so I actually missed that whole second half collapse and had to go back and watch it. One thing that kind of stuck out to me that made me, and rightfully so in this case, but do you think that maybe a little bit of this was Drake May's immaturity, not immaturity in a bad way, but like
Yes and
immaturity
no.
in his,
I know what you mean. Yeah, his youthfulness. Like
yeah.
I yes and no. I mean, the thing is he was mature enough to realize that he wasn't gonna be able to throw the football well because Buffalo played a great defensive plan, and he
Hmm.
didn't have a lot of time to throw the football, so he ran for 2 touchdowns. He was mature enough to realize that the running game was what was gonna happen and get the guys where they needed to be. Um, I I think that some of this, more so than anything, was Buffalo just had to win that game. They had to win, and so they went out there and they won it. And I think that was listen, New England Patriots were on a 10-game winning streak when that happened. the New England Patriots were
Mhm.
coming out of a bye. They were a little probably hungover, so to speak, off a 10-game
Mhm.
winning streak. And they went up against a team that, honestly, if they lost that game, wouldn't be in the playoffs.
Mhm.
So, or be fighting for a playoff spot. They had to win. And I think that that's really where that came from more than anything. Yeah, man, go ahead. I see you raising your hand. So polite. You're such a good student. My wife would be so proud of you, but she wouldn't call on you. She just
Well,
wouldn't.
so the reason I do that is to just let you know that I got something I need to say. My battery is gonna die on my laptop because I forgot to charge it. So we'll take this out. We've been going for a little over an hour now. So
We can
why
clip some
don't
stuff
you?
out of there.
Yeah, oh yeah. So
Yeah.
why don't you take us out?
Yeah. So, hey, guys, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. It's been an interesting ride for Sterling and I so far. We're having a good time. We love hanging out with and just talking, and the videos that we're putting out there, are getting a lot of responses right now. So we're gonna keep going, and hopefully you guys will keep following and keep supporting us. Um, as always, remember, stay a dude.
I'm the king of my driveway, mowing lines so straight. Got a toolbox full of glory, and a mortgage by the plate. I'm a modern man with a no